You're listening to Real Facts on Real Estate with Sean Patrick Maloney.
That sounds good.
Welcome to episode 17, Putting Facebook to Work. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Maloney. I'm here today with Eric Dufault of Learn What Works. Eric, thanks for joining me this afternoon.
Thanks for having me, Sean. Appreciate being here, man.
Not a problem. I'm really excited to take the audience to the next level and learning a little more about digital marketing and how to ultimately get more leads for free or through putting money on yourself and betting on yourself versus betting on other industry leaders. Tell me a little bit about Learn What Works before we get into the meat of it.
Learn What Works is kind of a advertising agency I've thrown together. I do a lot of trainings. I go out to different brokerages. Normally I ask there be about 10 people there. I go down. We do about a 2-hour workshop learning about Facebook advertising specifically, how to take paid traffic and translate it to dollars for your real estate business.
That's great. I know a lot of agents out there spending money in all different ways, shopping carts, billboards, mail, newspapers, all these things. But yet they're on these things like Facebook spending their entire afternoon commenting, liking, and clicking uselessly on other people's posts, and also just trying out a million free ways. So I'm glad that we finally have someone in willing to talk about where you can put money on Facebook, because I know the most common one that people are doing that I don't know if it's true, but I've heard is kind of a waste of money is just a simple boosting of a post. So let's get into that and let's start talking about some of the options over there.
Boosting, that is kind of the first step in the whole process. What you're doing when you're boosting is you're really trying to reach as many people as possible, but it's very basic play. When you advertise through Facebook, they give you all sorts of different options. And us as realtors, there's really 5 options that you really want to go after. One of them being reach, which is similar to boosting. Another one that's huge is video views. You definitely want to get into lead generation, which is what we're striving for, trying to get more leads through Facebook. Those are the 3 big ones that I use day in, day out. Video views, you also want to get engagement. And last is traffic. If you want to, build people going towards your website, if you want people engaging with your pixel, stuff like that, which we'll talk about a little bit. But those are basically the 5 that you're going to want to use as a realtor. Those are different type of campaigns, different type of objectives that you would want to start kind of learning about.
So let's start it from the top. I know a lot of people talk about the different analytics and they're talking, I got 1,000 or whatever. And, in my world, we always call those vanity analytics. And, it's great that Facebook got you in front of 1,000 people, but at the end of the day, what did it do for your bottom line? So out of all the different ones you talked about, let's start with the first one, and that's the overall reach. So describe a little bit about what is reach and what will it do for my business.
All right, if you run a reach campaign, what you're doing, say you have an open house coming in the weekend and you want to just get some static photos out there, some creative out there, what Facebook's going to do, and the cool thing about Facebook is if you tell it whatever campaign, whatever objective you want to do, it will do that. It wants you to succeed. But when you reach, your goal is to reach as many people, and just you're trying to put yourself out there and get a response. You want to start getting engagement. And when I talk about engagement, I'm not talking about likes or comments, anything like that. You just want people, clicking on the creative that you're putting out there, and that's part of what engagement is. The goal of Facebook advertising is to get engagement. It's to get a response from people. So then once you have that response, you can kind of act upon that. You've got a warm audience, and there's people that you can continue to retarget and slowly become the realtor of choice, the people that they turn to, the realtor that they know because you're constantly in their feed.
Sure. So ultimately, when you're saying with the reach, it's basically reaching out throughout the local community. Is that correct?
You can set it to different things, but the goal of Facebook when you ask it to reach is to get your post or your ad in front of as many people as possible.
Excellent. So the next one that you had mentioned, the grouping of different ones, would be the video views. Obviously, we all know video is some of the most powerful media that we currently have to get people's attention. What does video view boosting or posting with the AdSense type of thing work for?
When you kind of put a video view objective, and first you're going to need video, and whether that's video of you at the listing, maybe like a ripple video or like a collage video of the house itself. But what you're doing is you're putting a video out there for the audience to take a look at. And the power in video is Facebook will tag how long people watch the video for. So let's say I do a video where I'm talking about a home inspection. you're going to put that in front of 1,000 people, and the likelihood of that many people being interested is very low. Like, say 900 people have no interest in a home inspection. 100 people end up watching your video for 10 seconds. 50 people end up watching half the video. 25 people watch the entire video top to bottom. Facebook will tag everyone that watches that video for 3 seconds, 10 seconds, any amount of time. So what you're doing is you're slowly going from 1,000 people, and you're going down to, you're slowly funneling the people that are interested in connecting with your message. And what you're doing is building an audience off of that. So the video views is by far the most powerful. You can tell how engaged people are by how long they watch videos for. And later on, you can come and find anyone that watched those videos for a certain amount of time, know that they've engaged your content, and then you can retarget them later on.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, when you're done with the video campaign, they're giving you back who watched the video and for how long, or what are the details?
They won't necessarily tell you exactly who it is, but later on you can go, and when you go to run another ad, you can say, Facebook, I want to find anyone that watched this video, that video, another video for this amount of time, and I want to put another ad in front of them. So anyone that watched a video of a certain, maybe an open house, you want to put that house in front of them. Again, if they watched 10 seconds, 15 seconds of the video, you want to get back in front of them because obviously they stopped their scroll, they engaged, and they took some interest in it. So,
excellent. So, I'm just going to throw in a side note that I've learned through a lot of different marketing people is within the first 10 seconds of the video, you really want to put something highly engaging, if not within the first 6 seconds, which is the average view before someone determines whether they want to keep going or not. So if you're running a really long intro to your videos, you want to cut that out and you want to get into some meat right away. It's okay to throw a little more info in mixed in, but stop turning it into a commercial like you'd see on TV, because the same thing you do when they come on TV, you change the channel. It's a lot easier than ever and you just scroll up. Let's talk about the next grouping of ads on Facebook, which would be lead ads. And if you want to just dive in a little deeper and explain to the audience who some of these people may not have ever even used Facebook marketing, what is a lead ad and what can it do for the business?
Lead gen ad is it's some of the most powerful stuff because you're asking for contact info in response. You're going to put, whether it's a static image or few images of a house, you could do a video, and you're going to ask them to engage. And Facebook's going to go ahead, and the real power with Facebook as opposed to, say, landing pages is it will auto-populate the information they already have associated with their account. So a lot of people already have their cell phone, they already have their email attached to their account. Facebook will say, here's your name, here's your phone number, here's your email. Would you like to send it to this person? They don't have to type it in because, God forbid, someone has to take time out of their busy day and type it in, but it'll take that information, auto-populate it into the fields, and ask if they want to send it off. And then if they do decide to send it off to you, there you have some information, you have some contact, you have a possible lead, someone that was interested in information, and you kind of run with it from there.
Tell me a little bit about when you run a lead ad. How would you build the copy and what would you put together for the overall ad itself?
You want to have something that people can kind of, take an interest in, whether it's a house or it's an open house coming up. But in the end, you're only going to find one buyer for that house. So when I write my copy, are you looking for a home in a certain town? Are you looking for this type of house? And you want to focus a lot less on the actual property itself, and you want to focus more on the idea of buying a property. So it opens up a little bit, a few more doors. And then later on, when I ask for their information, I always ask for their full name. I always try to get phone number and then email as well. And then you can go ahead and put them on a drip campaign, add them into your database, and slowly start feeding them and kind of interacting with them in that manner as well. So.
Okay, so it seems like, ultimately it's very similar to the old school technique when it comes to open housing that, not always are you open housing for the actual house that you're selling. Sometimes you're actually looking for those buyers that are out there that are wandering around that town, and maybe it's not the right house for them, but at the end of the day, it's a house and you're a real estate agent and you should be able to convert them into something else. So you're basically leveraging off of your listings just in the modern digital aspect of it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you want to have a talking point, but if you get them on the phone and they just want to know specific information about that specific property, there's a good chance the conversation might end there and they'll be like, okay, I was just asking about that specific house. Whereas you approach them and, are you looking for a house in this area? You have, that opens a door to a lot of other things as far as setting up tours for them and just kind of running off that. And, you don't want to be too specific with your ads is what I'm getting at.
So when these leads come in and they come into the inbox or wherever they end up, what is the next step? Like, so you get a lead in, and what's the timeline that I want to reach out to these people, and what's the best method of just reaching out to them in general?
I mean, the number one thing is speed. I mean, you're going to get this lead, and at that moment, they are engaged. They're interested in whatever it is. They just sent your information. You want to get to them within 5 minutes, whether it's call, text, email. And I usually follow up over the course of 6 days, and then I'll slowly put them on a slower campaign. But I mean, you want to, within 5 minutes, hey, you just saw my ad. You get to them 24 hours later. It's not necessarily going to hold any weight, but they were just engaged with your ad. It's still fresh in their mind. Their mind's still, a little bit interested. Their imagination's going, thinking about buying a house. That's the best time to kind of, follow up and get on the horn immediately.
So when someone fills out the lead ad on Facebook, how does it notify me? Like, how do I make sure that I'm quick about that process?
I mean, there's different programs that you can use. One of them that I use is called Zapier. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's to the point where I use that program where as soon as I get a lead form filled out, it texts me immediately that person's contact information, and I just kind of run it from there. But yeah, I mean, Facebook, it'll store it on the back end. It'll keep like a CSV file or like an Excel spreadsheet of all the information. You can go ahead and download that. But if you want it to act quick, there's different things. You either got to stay on top of it or you got to set up some back-end program where it immediately notifies you.
Okay, and so when we're going to be running those ads and everything, obviously, these are paid type of advertisements. Like, what kind of budget makes sense? I know that unlike the old days of the newspaper where you had to make a commitment of $500 a month to get in, I know that on Facebook you can get in as low as $1 and you can unlimited spend. I mean, obviously there's no cap to it. What's a good starting point for a new agent really looking to get in and get their feet wet?
I mean, you could get away with $5 a day, $10 a day. I mean, it's going to take a little bit amount of money, but it depends. There's all different ways you can run your campaigns. You can, using the reach campaign, you can reach people for, I think it's 2 people a penny. So if you want to get in front of 2,000 people, it's going to cost you about $10. The average numbers I see, if you want to put a 10-second video in front of people, it's going to cost you around 6 cents. It's all different forms, but I usually anywhere like $5 a day is a good starting point. Usually I go at least $10 a day. I recommend to people. So you're looking around like $300 a month, but you can reach people depending on your campaign and depending on your objective. You can do it for a lot cheaper.
Excellent. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I always advise agents, it's better to do something than nothing at all, because there's so many people that say, well, $300 a day, that's out of my budget. Well, even if it's $1 a day, how else are you going to get yourself out there for $1 a day? Like, obviously, it's not going to do what that $300 a month or the other does, but at the same time, you need to do it. Because one of the things is, you have the old field of dreams, if you build it, they will come. I always tell people that's sort of similar to business. For some reason, everybody thinks in business, like, I'm going to build this thing once I get clients. And it's like, well, where are the clients going to come? It's like, have you ever gone to a new McDonald's franchise and they serve you in brown paper bags and they're like, once we get 1,000 customers, we're going to get those normal bags. But till then, we're not going to have them. So I think the most important thing for agents, whenever it comes to advertising, to realize is that sometimes you have to go on with faith and you have to do everything that you know is going to work and that you have to be willing to take that risk. Too often we're looking for a handout that's going to get our way up, and then we'll buy once we're there. And we're always looking at agents above us saying, yeah, they're there because they have the money to do that. But every agent that got to that level at one point took that risk. What would you say if you were starting budget and you were just starting out on Facebook? What would be your first moves? Would you boost posts? Would you lead gen ad? Would you video? Video.
Video, it's the number one way just to connect with people and put your face out there. And it's a big ask. I understand it's a huge ask. It takes, some bravery to put your face in front of people. And if I was an agent starting out spending $1 a day, I would go out and try to provide community value. I wouldn't say, hey, look at me, I'm this amazing realtor. I would say, hey, I'm in this great section of town. They've got this new business coming up. Hey, there's a great festival coming up. I would just do a video about that, demonstrating that I'm in the community. And slowly you can build from there and you can become a lot more efficient. You can, slowly, like we talked about earlier with video views, you can find the people that are engaging and you can go from 1,000 people to only having to advertise to 100 people, 50 people, 25 people, the people that are taking an interest in you and that are connecting with you. And that's kind of how you drive your costs down very quickly with Facebook. But you have to put content out. If you're not putting content out and you're not getting that engagement, you're never going to be able to reap the rewards, like you said earlier.
The other one that I wanted to bring up is inconsistency. This is something with Facebook marketing. Would you say consistency is key as well as speed to lead?
Consistency is, it's a huge part of that. If you can kind of set up a regimen of putting material out there on a regular basis, you're going to keep, people interested. As long as you keep putting stuff out there and it's good content, you're going to continually just grow your audience and grow the people that are kind of paying attention to you. But yeah, consistency is it's a huge part of it for sure.
I got a question for you. Sorry if I come off as an amateur on this one, but with a normal post, I know that you can schedule a post. With advertisements, can you schedule advertisements of when they're going out?
Yeah, you can schedule them. You can adjust the times. I usually leave them open because you just never know when people are watching, aren't watching. You can track that sort of data. You can see when most of the people are engaging, and if you want to later on go ahead and do that, you can set your ads to only fire on certain times. But yeah, that's definitely an option. You can set it certain days, and if you want to you can go back and look at the analytics and really see when your stuff is, you're getting the most bang for your buck.
Wow, okay, that's some powerful stuff. So step one of getting ready to advertise, because it's getting close to the end of the podcast here, and I want to give people a way to make this actually happen. Does a person have to have a business page in order to advertise, and how hard is that to do?
Business page is that if I had to, leave this podcast with one thing is you should definitely have a business page. And whenever you post something real estate related, you should start it at your business page. Everything should originate from your business page. And the reason that I say that is that's where Facebook will collect data. If you do stuff from your personal page, Facebook's not going to collect any data. You're not going to be able to build audience off that. And I know a lot of people say, well, listen, Eric, I get so much more engagement. I reach so many people when I do it from my personal as opposed to my business page. But if you take something and you post it to your business page and then share it over to your personal page, you're going to get the same effect. Only now you're going to start collecting data and Facebook's going to start recognizing who is taking interest. And later on, you can come back and use that data. So yeah, I definitely make sure you have a business page set up and make sure whenever you post stuff, originate from there so you can really unlock what Facebook can do for you.
That sounds good. Yeah, I know I have a business page. I know some agents do and don't. I know I've heard the same argument as you. I get a lot more engagement over here. I always tell agents, just in my own knowledge of it, is, you don't want to harass your friends. And that's what you're doing when you're starting to turn your personal page into a business page. And whether you know that they did or not, a lot of people are going to slowly but surely unfollow you. And it's just going to come off as annoying. There's nothing wrong with telling your crowd, hey, I just sold a house or I have a new listing. But when you're on there every day badgering them to buy houses off of you, it's just not the right way to do it. And again, I think that runs right over to the business page, and why paid advertisement is important is getting yourself in front of people that want to hear ads versus getting ads in front of people who are your existing client base, who you're just pounding on every day, buy a house, sell a house, don't you know somebody type of mentality. I don't think that's going to get you anywhere. Well, thank you for coming on today. Just want to go over one last question with you. If somebody was looking to find out more about Learn What Works, how do they reach out to you? Where can they find you? And tell me a little more on that.
I would just look me up on Facebook, Eric Default. If you want to type in Learn What Works, you can look up the advertising agency. But yeah, this is Facebook. Find me on Facebook. Best place to do it. Go ahead and send me a friend request. I usually accept them. I don't have too many normal friends, so I got plenty of room to still accept them. But yeah, just look me up on Facebook. That's where I operate. That's where, I advertise, and that's where I kind of, run a lot of my business through. So go ahead and do that, and I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you.
And Learn What Works, what do you offer for services as far as this marketing and business ads? Do you run the entire campaign for someone, or do you just teach them about the campaigns? How far do you go in with it?
I do a lot of, I'll approach smaller brokerages, or if you can get at least 10 people in front of me, I'm more than happy to come and give about an hour and a half presentation for free. If you check out my page, I've got a lot of testimonials on there. A lot of people walk away from that just kind of really thrilled, and it really kind of gets people, I give a lot of actionable steps, and people like coming out to those. So if you are, in New England and you can get together, 10 agents that are people that will take action, more than happy to come out and teach the class. Later on, I do run paid advertising for people. I do run complete campaigns. I will help you out as far as lead gen goes, but that's a conversation we could have at any time. Feel free to reach out to me, and I can kind of go into detail exactly what I can do for your business.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Eric, for coming out today. I really appreciated having you on the podcast. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And if you have any questions, feel free to PM me, DM me, email me, text me, message me on any of the platforms. I'll get right back to you. Make sure to follow the podcast. Thanks for listening this week, and we'll talk to you again sometime soon.